It's officially been 1 year since SOLIDWORKS introduced cloud services as a standard part of their CAD solution. And while some people were quick to become early adopters over the last year, many others haven't quite been able to figure out how to get started or how to take advantage of them. These cloud tools exist both inside of SOLIDWORKS and on the 3D Experience platform, which can be accessed using an internet browser, and they're intended to help you streamline data management and collaboration processes. This video in particular is going to be focused on setting up your interface on the browser-based 3D Experience platform, but there's a lot you can accomplish with cloud services without ever even leaving SOLIDWORKS. So if you'd rather learn more about that, be sure to watch our first video in this series aptly titled Using Cloud Services in SOLIDWORKS. Cloud services offer something for almost everyone, from those who just want the very basics to those interested in more advanced PLM tools. But regardless of your needs, if you'd like to use the tools available on the 3D Experience platform, the very first step to success is creating a customized dashboard that includes the right tools, whether you're a designer, a project or team manager, or somewhere in between. So how do you create a dashboard? How many tabs should it have? Which apps should you include, and what do they do? Well, that all depends, but we're lifting the veil so you can make the most of cloud services in this episode of Ask Solid Professor.
Here, just
Not like you're holding on to it. Try turning it off and back on again. Here, try this. No, there we go. That wasn't too bad. Like our previous video on using cloud services in SOLIDWORKS, this video assumes that an administrator in your organization has already activated cloud services, set up a 3D Experience platform, and designated you as a user. Again, if you're the very first person to activate cloud services for your company, you will automatically become the administrator, so check with a manager or your IT department to verify that everything is set up properly if you're unsure. And once again, the cloud services I'm referring to in this video only include the basics of data management and collaboration, and do not include any cloud-based CAD tools. To learn more about administration or cloud-based CAD, check out our available courses for 3D Experience. All right, let's get to it. When logging onto the 3D Experience platform for the first time, you'll likely be greeted by a welcome tour message explaining some of the basics and the welcome app. Here you'll find some recommended applications to get started, along with some learning resources and communities to check out, which are certainly valuable, but this layout isn't conducive to a working environment. For example, opening the 3D Play app opens a new window, then allows me to browse for a file and view it while providing some basic functions like measurement and annotation and markup. This is great, but it's far from the most efficient way of using the 3D Play app, and this tends to be true for the other apps on the welcome screen as well. This is where dashboards come in. A dashboard is essentially a collection of apps which are then grouped and displayed within tabs in a way that complements your day-to-day work. If you click on the hamburger icon in the top left corner of the screen, you should see My First Dashboard, which is essentially another welcome page. This is good material, and I do recommend that you read it, but I also know you're not here to read. So let's make a dashboard that does something. The plus icon available at the top of this dialog allows you to create a new dashboard. Now, if your company has been actively using cloud services for a while, your administrator may have shared one or more dashboards with you already, in which case you may wish to use those directly or take advantage of the option to create a dashboard from a template. Assuming that's not the case, however, we're going to start with an empty dashboard and provide some sort of name and description. For this first example, I'm also going to assume that I'm a designer. I'm not managing a team or a project. I just want to be able to access my files, use SOLIDWORKS, create revisions, and work with other people when I have to. Once I'm happy with the dashboard name and description, I'll click Create, and I'm presented with the most white space I've ever seen. So now what? You'll notice I have a tab near the top of my screen named New Tab. Now we can create as many tabs as we'd like, but we should really think about what exactly we're trying to accomplish with these tabs when we name them in order to stay organized. I want this first tab to be where I find and preview CAD files, so I'll click the arrow next to it to rename it to Explore. Now we have to decide which apps to add to this dashboard. Apps can be found by clicking on the blue compass at the top left of the screen. You'll probably see some roles, some cockpits, and a ton of apps, but please keep in mind that what you see here can vary significantly if you do have access to more than just the basic cloud services that come with SOLIDWORKS, so your screen might look quite a bit different than mine. I'm going to ignore the roles and cockpits for now and just focus on the applications that you'll need as a designer. And I'm also assuming that you only have bare bones cloud services. To make things easier, you can also search for apps by name if you know what you're looking for. First and foremost, the bookmark editor. This is essentially the Windows Explorer of the 3D Experience platform, in that it provides a way to organize and find and open files very quickly. You can see I have a few bookmarks already established from other projects, but we're not going to get into the weeds for each application with this video, so you'll just have to trust me for now that you'll definitely want the bookmark editor on your dashboard to make life easy. That being said, if you want to see real examples of designers, managers, and even third parties collaborating using these apps, be sure to catch our next video in this series on improving workflows with cloud services, and consider checking out our 3D Experience training courses. Once I've dragged and dropped the bookmark editor into white space on the dashboard, it loads up in a small window. The next app we'll add is called 3D Play, and this is the same app we looked at earlier in the video that allows you to preview, measure, and add annotations to files. I'll drag it next to the bookmark editor, and notice that nothing happens. Only certain apps can be added to dashboards, and they can be identified by a tiny arrow at the top right corner of the app icon. If I drag this version of the 3D Play app instead, it's added to the dashboard without any trouble, so be on the lookout for that. Our final app for this tab will be 3D Space, which uses collaborative spaces to organize data. These are similar to a vault for those of you familiar with SOLIDWORKS PDM. Collaborative spaces are essentially buckets or folders for storing files, and access to them is based on permissions set by the platform administrator. While it's technically possible to have as many collaborative spaces as you'd like, it's recommended to keep the number to a minimum to avoid redundancy and extra work. If you just need to organize different projects, bookmarks tend to be a much cleaner option. As a designer connecting to your company's existing tenant, there should already be one or more existing collaborative spaces for you to explore. Double-clicking a collaborative space will open it and show any available files. But first, let's clean up this display a bit so we can see what's going on. I'll use the Fit option available in the drop-down menu of the tab, and all the apps expand to fill the screen. I can still drag these around by the headers to reposition them if needed, and for even more space, I can close the left pane. Now all my data is available to me on a single screen. I can browse through the collaborative space, drag and drop a file into 3D Play to preview it, and create a bookmark structure to organize projects and quickly recall project data. I can even drag and drop files directly from 3D Space onto new bookmarks to attach them, and having all these tools on the same screen is way more efficient compared to opening them one by one, like we'd have to do on the welcome screen. There's a ton of additional functionality just between these three apps, but we'll be exploring that in the Improving Workflows video. So what's next? Well, if you're a designer, you'll probably need to keep track of projects and related tasks. So let's create a new tab to do just that. After clicking the plus icon once again, I'll rename the tab to Tasks and pull up my list of applications using the compass. This tab is going to feature only a single app, aptly named Collaborative Tasks, so I'll maximize it with a double click on the header. With collaborative tasks, you can track and record the progress of any work that's been assigned to you, and likewise create and assign tasks to yourself and others. I can even jump back to my Explore tab and use the drag and drop capability to attach any required files directly to the task, making things a lot easier for anyone I've assigned. For my final tab, I'd like to be able to compare different versions of the same file or different files and control revisions. I'll name this tab Lifecycle and add the Collaborative Lifecycle and Compare applications, following that up with the Fit option to share the space equally. If preferred, you could also add either Bookmark Editor or the 3D Space app to this tab for quick drag and drop, but it's also possible to drag files from one tab to another and directly into an application, as we just showed with Collaborative Tasks, or simply use the Open Content button in the app. Once I've opened a file in Collaborative Lifecycle, I can modify the maturity state or use the available options to apply a revision, create a branch, or duplicate a file. The Collaboration tab likewise allows me to share the file, move it to another collaborative space, and control whether it's locked or unlocked, which determines who has write access to it. As a final note, you can multi-select and drag many files to the Collaborative Lifecycle app at once if you need to delete them. This is the best way to ensure they're completely removed from the platform. The Compare application pairs nicely with Collaborative Lifecycle, as it allows me to understand any changes made between revisions. Again, you can drag and drop content from bookmarks if preferred, which makes it particularly easy to drop in two revisions of a design at the same time and get straight to comparing them. Right away, the details of the files are listed under the Properties tab, but even more impressive is the 3D view, allowing us to visualize the differences between these models. You can even expand this window for a closer look, and it quickly becomes obvious that the original revision, highlighted in orange, was a bit larger and didn't contain slots like the latest revision. Now, with all these applications added to your dashboard and sorted neatly into tabs, we have an efficient way to organize and find our files, manage our day-to-day tasks, control revisions, and interrogate our models in one comprehensive space. And remember that as a designer, you can right-click a file from almost any of these apps and open it directly into SOLIDWORKS to begin making design changes. And a lot of this same functionality is also available directly within SOLIDWORKS itself. Of course, there's a lot more capability available here, as you can see by the list of applications, and we do encourage you to explore them. But if you're a designer, what you've seen so far is the core setup that we recommend. But what if you're a manager? Now, I won't rehash setting up a dashboard since we've already covered that extensively here, but I do want to recommend a few additional apps to those of you responsible for managing teams or projects. You'll certainly be interested in the bookmark editor and collaborative lifecycle apps, which we'd recommend maximizing into their own respective tabs, as well as collaborative tasks. But in addition to these, you may be interested in the 3D Markup app. This is similar in many ways to 3D Play, but with enhanced capabilities. Instead of just View and Tools tabs, we now have additional markup and annotation tabs which can be used to create enhanced markups for improved communication or even presentations. Though 3D Play can be used to generate annotations as well, the additional tools available and the integrated change action and issues commands make 3D Markup very powerful. Speaking of issues, Issue Management is the final app that we'll be recommending for managers today, and we recommend pairing it up in a tab alongside collaborative tasks. Issue Management allows me to review any existing design issues and of course create new issues as they arise by applying a title, description, priority, due date, assignees, and even attachments. While collaborative tasks is great for assigning and reviewing day-to-day activities, Issue Management allows you to establish and monitor an audit trail of design issues, priorities, and progress. Together, they make an excellent solution for keeping both teams and projects on track, and Issue Management is one of many applications that can be implemented for a comprehensive product lifecycle management solution. With this dashboard complete, the final step is to share it with others. Using the available drop-down next to the name of the dashboard, I'll simply click Share and then choose the recipients or create a link for sharing, saving them the time of creating their own dashboards and ensuring that we're all using a similar setup. Now that you have your dashboard set up and a better idea of what these applications do, it's time to start using them. But I think this video has gone on quite long enough. If you're interested in seeing some beginning to end examples of these apps being used together between designer and manager and even a third party, be sure to catch our third and final video in this series, Improving Workflows with Cloud Services, where we demonstrate a revision process from start to finish. If you found this video helpful, do us a huge favor and give it a like to help others find it as well. And if you want to keep learning about SOLIDWORKS or cloud services or anything else CAD related, consider subscribing to stay up to date with our latest releases. And for even more information, head over to solidprofessor.com and check out our full-length courses on 3D experience. Until next time, thanks for asking, Solid Professor.